Welcome to the Dementialand Serial Podcast, a story for everyone who knows someone living in or near Dementialand. My name is Suzka, and this is my story.
I'm leaving now, Suzka. Are you ready? I'm going to go get the car out of the garage. So meet me at the end of the driveway, and then I'll take you to Starbucks for coffee. Hurry, don't lollygag.
I was lying on the couch under the warm covers, my butt stuck to its leather. One leg hung over the backrest. My head was still in my sleep, with thoughts of home, my home, and painting.
Hurry now, I got my coat on. I'm leaving.
The door to the garage closed. I jumped up from the couch and flew into my routine. Pee, brush, blush, pull up my tights, slip on my T-top, then pull my hair up and claw clip it to the top of my head. I could do this in 7 minutes flat. I knew it would take my mother 8 minutes, from the slam of the back door to the car's first honk in front of the house. In 6 minutes and 30 seconds, I grabbed my red sling-back heels, ran up the steps, and slam-locked the door behind me. I'm ready, Mom. Let's go. My mother always looked somewhat amazed, but she didn't have the time to spend acknowledging her approval. She was in a hurry to get to a place outside herself. And off we drove quickly, barely stopping at the corner stop sign.
Suzka, are you sure the door is locked? I'm going to turn around. You jump out and double-check and make sure it's locked tight.
The cement curb didn't get a chance to move aside.
Now go hurry and check the door, and then we'll go to Starbucks. Now listen, when we're at the DMV, don't call me your mother. If you have to address me, just call me Violet. I don't want them thinking you know me. They might ask you questions about my driving, and no telling what you'd be telling them.
She kept talking, but I heard very little. There was some kind of mumbling and then a yawning silence that met us halfway. A man with a dark face pointed to a ticket dispenser that spit out numbers. He was an oddly suspicious-looking character, pointing as if he were giving us insider information not available to others.
You gotta take a number. Everybody's gotta take a number.
My mother moved closer to the man's voice, as if she was getting access to non-public information. It all sounded illegal and naughty, which piqued my mother's attention.
Hurry, listen to the man. Go get a number, Suzka. Get 2 numbers.
Mom, it doesn't matter if I take 2. They're calling the numbers in order.
Listen to me. Just take 2 numbers. Why must you always argue with me?
My mother was fighting the dementias that day. She needed to. She couldn't slip up. She needed all her wits and her stubbornness, too, if she was going to get her license renewed. This was my mother's birthday month, and the month her driver's license would expire. But she was more confused these days, so I was somewhat concerned. More than often, she didn't remember my name or how many children she had, but she knew the expiration date on her driver's license, even though it had all the signs of being its last and permanent expiration. It was bittersweet. This could change everything. But she was exceptionally alert this day, as if she studied her sanity all night long. Her wits were going to be tested, and the stakes were high. My mother, Violet, had already planned this day in her head. I'm sure she would tell the inspector that she's been driving since she was 12. Then, when the timing was right, she would give the man 2 bags of candy. This might call for less charm and more of a sweet bribe.
You know, Suzka, I don't need that photo, so maybe he can just add all that savings onto my score. I plan on cutting the face from my old license, and then I can just super glue it on top of my new one. It's such a good picture. Look, isn't that a good picture?
My mother loved driving, but she drove like a maniac as long as I can remember. Her specialty was expressways with high traffic volume and mazes of overlapping ramps. But I had to admit, she had the touch. Like Picasso with a brush, she could switch lanes with swift energy and speed and daring excitement.
And when they call me to, well, just move away from me. Go over there and read, draw, or do whatever you do. Just remember, don't call me Mother. Is that paint on your pants?
I looked around. The room was huge. The floored linoleum was taped with lines, directional lines, a complex puzzles of paths for the numbered to follow. The tape ended at the counters where everyone needed to go eventually. No one followed the linoleum's advice. Everyone moved around willy-nilly. The room echoed every sound, every chair that scraped the floor, every shuffling shoe and dragging walkers, as well as all the windowed conversations. Some people trembled and made wheezing sounds. Old people, alarmed of being banned from driving forever, sat quietly, afraid to think too loudly.
Let me go tell them I'm a senior citizen. I'm going to go over there to the counter and talk to somebody over there, and you go get candy from the car. And don't forget, one bag has got to be sugarless.
Oh, sit down, Violet.
Oh, Lord, look at that poor dear.
A man wobbled to the window like a bulldog. He had no neck and wore thick glasses. His body was round, his toes turned out. When he got to the window, he was nervously excited and could barely see straight. The man took another extended squint at the chart and uttered a cockeyed, screwed-up sound.
Fee, pee, tozzle, ped, pickfed.
English, sir. Just speak English and read the chart.
I'm trying to, but I don't speak this DMV crap. Give me an English chart.
This is the chart you need to read, sir. Don't get sassy with me. Just read the letters one by one.
Fee, tuzz, fick.
Letters. They are letters, not words. Read each letter separately.
On the other side of the room, a uniformed man walked in with a clipboard. Following him was an older man talking to his wife, who met him at the door.
It was awful, Betty. That guy confused the hell out of me. Every chance he got. Turn right, turn left, park here, watch out. Don't hit that kid. I didn't see no kid. He made it up to make me crazy. He's not working for our side. That guy's a communist. It was awful, Betty. This country's going to hell in a handbasket.
He had failed for sure. His nose was red as a dried beet, and his voice sounded like a frantic dog locked in a car. This was an irreparable loss. Violet and I watched the man and his wife walk into the horizon.
Come on, let's go home, Betty. I'm driving. Mrs. Violet. Is there a Mrs. Violet here?
His words loudly cut through all the other noises moving around in the room. Violet pinched her cheeks and ran her hand over her loose hairs around her ears before she raised her hand like a little girl in school.
Yoo-hoo! Over here, Mr. Officer! I'm Violet!
Waving her entire arm in the air, drawing attention to her location. She was ready. In one sweep, she ripped the canvas bags of candies out of my arm and innocently moved quickly to her executioner.
I'm Violet, officer.
I am not an officer, ma'am. I am your examiner, Frederick.
Oh, yes, but I don't need to be examined.
She shook her body and rolled her shoulders.
I feel great. I've been driving since I've been 12.
Are you ready to drive for me today?
Oh, yes, indeed.
They slowly started to walk together out of the building to the testing area.
And how are you today? You look so much like my son.
That was a complete lie. I have no brothers. She used her old woman's voice, a gay voice, with endings dripping in honey. As she spoke, she wrinkled her forehead and animated her cleverness.
Is she your mother?
Yes, I guess, kind of, in a way.
We'll be back in 20 minutes.
At that moment, as they walked away, it was as if my mother was moving away from this life. She appeared smaller and seemingly more frail than this morning. I stepped back and leaned against the building. The sun covered my body and made everything sweet and warm. But I was still worried. It's dangerous to be compassionate when you need to be sensible.
She passed.
Wait, who said that? I looked around. I saw Frederick talking to me. What did he say? Did I hear him correctly?
She passed.
I looked at Violet and noticed a similar surprised look on her face, but she wouldn't let on. Frederick continued talking as he signed and stamped the necessary paperwork.
Well, your mother drove better when she used her purse to sit on. I'm gonna pass her this time, but this might be her last time.
How could they issue her a driver's license? Can anyone get a license? Are they just giving them away? Why don't they just drop them out of the sky for everyone? Blank licenses. Let people fill in their names with crayon and draw a happy face in the picture box. Let everyone drive. Let babies, blind people, dogs, cats, and elephants drive. I was dumbstruck.
Come on now, let's go home. I'm driving. Let's go tell your father I passed.